Here's a candid conversation with Carl White on what did we learn different, or what did we learn from this past 12 months? And then also, what are some of the things we're going to do different in this next 12 months? I'm your host, Steve Kiles. You're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, and we're powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. Carl, we got a great topic. Let me just set this up. You said this a couple of weeks ago, and we were on, I think it was on the Breakfast Club. And such a great question to ask in reflection. And so you and I are branch managers. I've got a branch and you've got your branch. I literally that day, the entire week. So the loan officers in my branch that we've got some masterminding and coaching and the lead team and all of that. We just kept going back and saying, all right, this is a great question that I thought, let's talk about it on the podcast because I'd love to hear what you have learned in the past 12 months. And I'll share some thoughts too. And then also, what are you going to do differently this next 12 months? So let me give everybody the question you asked, because it'll be a great thing to take back to your teams and to think about in reflection, because it can help you literally accelerate your growth over the next 12 months. The question you asked was this: what did I learn from this past 12 months? And then what am I going to do differently this next 12 months so that what? So that what? So that what? So it's not only what am I going to do differently, but it's what am I going to do differently so that what? And what a great question, man. I loved it. It's
Yeah.
been, man, just a pondering question for weeks now.
Yeah. So what would you do? Are you asking me or am I asking you?
Yeah, no. I'm asking. I want to hear for some of the. I know some of what I will, and I'll share it. But I'd love to
All
hear
right.
what is Carl White? What'd you learn in 12 months, and what are some of the things you're going to do different?
All right. One thing I learned is investments aren't spending and spending's not an investment.
Talk about that.
So look at what am I currently paying for? And is that thing helping me close more loans or something that I'm thinking about paying for? Is that
Mm,
going to help me close more loans? Like, do I have
mm.
pretty good confidence that, hey, Steve, if I do that thing you want me to do, will I close more loans? Yes. And what does it cost to do that? I don't know. I'm just going to make up a number here.
Yeah.
Uh, $500 a month, whatever that thing is.
Mm.
$50 a month or 5,000. Doesn't matter,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, is that thing going to make me more than what it cost? Yes. That's not spending money. That's investing money. That's like
Mm,
buying ink to print $100 bills. The
mm,
ink is not an expenditure.
mm,
Spending that money is an investment. It's like
mm.
the keys to Fort Knox. Paying for the winning combination of the lottery numbers on Saturday night is not an expenditure. That's an investment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm turning pennies into dollars. I'm turning dollars into $100. I'm turning $100 into $1,000. I'm turning thousands of dollars into tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I look at things that I'm currently spending. Uh, am I getting a return from that? Or if this thing I'm thinking about doing is spending, am I going to close more loans doing it? Is it going to help me close more loans? If it is, that's not an expense. That's a
Mm,
profit center. Like
mm.
what moron would say? I shouldn't say that's too strong, but you know what I'm saying. Like who would say, "Gee, I don't want to buy the ink cost $100, or the ink cost $1,000
Yeah.
to go print these $100 bills." Dude,
Mm.
go print 10 of them. You broke even. The
Yeah.
next 10's all profit. Like who wouldn't do that? And so don't think of investments as expenditures, but also, am I spending money on something I'm getting nothing from? That's not an investment. That's a spend. So
Yeah.
stop the spends, make investments. When I invest in people, like when I invest in my assistant, that's
Yeah.
not an expenditure. That's a profit center.
Mm.
My everybody that's on my team, my help, they don't cost me money. They make me money, and they make them money, right? They make them money. So that's one thing. Number two, I guess in that same line, and I have to tell myself this all the time, man. Carl, don't be the US government. Now, this is not a political statement, right?
Got it.
And I'm sure we can all agree that the US government, and likely any government, right, and anywhere in the world, right, uh, spends a huge amount of money, and some of it's really, really, really good investments for people, the country, our safety, goodwill, helping others, like whatever those things are. A huge amount of it is just absolute garbage that doesn't need to be spent. And the
Hmm.
problem is you go, hey, governor, or hey, mayor, or hey, city council, or hey, president, or like whoever. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm picking on everybody, right? I'm picking on everybody.
Yeah.
Like, is like, or let's talk president, whoever he or she may be, right? That's not a statement of today. Hey, Mrs. President, Mr. President, I know where you can save $1 million.
Mm.
Well, they would go, that's not a drop in the bucket. That means nothing to me in the big scale of things. Don't even bother my time with $1 million. I find myself doing the same thing, Steve.
Mm.
I'm not proud of that. And I'm not saying let's take away a couple of zeros.
Hmm.
Um, Watch where your money's being spent
That's so good.
and make sure it's going. It kind of goes back to the first one. Make sure it's being spent in profit centers, and don't think that's only $1,000 a month. That's only $500 a month. That's only $50 a month. It's like I have to tell myself this, Carl. If you dropped $1 in
Hmm.
the parking lot, would you stop and pick it up? Well, as long as I didn't drop it in the middle of the interstate, right? 100% of the time, if I'm in a safe place, right? I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop and pick the darn thing up. Who
Yeah.
who wouldn't, right? Or if I'm in the grocery store and I'm buying, I don't know, some apples,
Yep.
right? And here's two exact apples, and one is 50 cents and the other's 47 cents. Who's going to grab the 50? Nobody. Everybody's going to go after me too. You're going to go after, I'm going to
Yeah.
grab the 47. So if 3 cents matters then, why does
Mm.
it matter? Why does it not matter in my business? So I'm going to look at the things that I'm spending on.
Yeah.
And if I can say, I learned this from my father. I remember one time he went to go buy a car and they'd settled on a price. And I'm just going to use like a today's number, right?
Yep.
Let's say it was $24,000,
Yep.
whatever, some modest car. Well, if even on that, if even on that 24,000, if you could knock them down another $50, what difference is that gonna make? If you drop $50, would you pick it up?
Mm.
$50 still matters. And
Yeah.
so when he went to go buy that car, I say it was 24,000. He said, "All right, I'll do it." And as we walk into the thing, he says, "You know what, Mr. Salesman, Mrs. Salesman, you got to make me feel like I won here. Knock off another 50 and we're good, and I'll shut up and I'll sign the papers." And,
Mm.
and he did.
Mm.
And when we were driving home, he said, "Did you see what I did there?" And I said, "No, what?" He said, "I saved $50. And Carl, here it is." And he gave me $50.
Mm.
Right. And so that was a great lesson.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there holding the $50 and went, holy crap, I got $50. Had he not asked for that, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? So in
Yeah.
our business, everything matters.
Mm.
So make sure you're spending your money on good things. Make sure your help are good help.
Hmm.
Make sure you're investing in profit centers.
I love.
So
Hey, what are some of the things that you think you'll do differently as you're looking ahead to the next 12 months? Is there anything you're going to do different?
so I would say I'm going to double down on my investments
Mm.
and I'm going to tap out of my expenditures.
Mm. That's
And so
good.
if I've got something or somebody that's a good investment, I'm hanging out with this group, hanging out with these people, and doing so makes me more money. I'm going to do more of that
Hmm.
because I don't want anybody to hear me. Don't spend money. Um, Make investments that are paying off.
Mm.
So, like if I'm buying this software, I'm going to say a software. I'm
Yep.
buying this software and it helps me get leads. That's a really good thing,
Yeah.
right? If I'm subscribing to this weekly publication that I delete every week anyway, I'm trying to think of an example, but I don't want to pick on anybody, right? But you don't get what I'm saying. So I'm just going to look at what I'm spending. I'm going to double down on the things that make me money, and I'm going to cut out the things that aren't.
That's so good.
I think the other thing that I tell you, another big lesson I learned this year, what is always keep marketing. Always
That's a
keep
big one.
marketing.
That's a big
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So what happened is, when we had the loans just coming in,
Yeah.
like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I think I peaked at about, I think in 1 month, and this is just a more or less number. I don't remember the exact number, but if I remember right, I had 1 month where our team closed. I think it was 863 or so. It was on the north side of 800. So 863 loans in a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, dude, unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Or for me anyway, I look at that and go, how in the heck do you do that, right?
Mhm.
Well, I can tell you how because I've done it, right? I know how. But I looked at that and went, oh my God, that is just a huge number. And what happened is we stopped the marketing
They got
and
us up.
focused on closing all the loans,
Mhm.
right? Because there was a lot to close on. So then what happened when the industry started to slow up a little bit, it's like a jet engine. When you
Yeah.
give that thing gas, it takes a little while for that thing to spool up.
Hmm.
And so if you wait until, hey, we need more power now,
Yeah.
you wait then to give it gas, you're going to hit the mountain,
Yeah.
right? But before you need the power, you need to apply the power before you
Mhm.
need it. If you wait until you need it, too late.
It's too
So
late.
same thing in our marketing is we slowed down on our marketing, focused on closing the loans, and then when it came time that marketing was a thing that we all needed to do again, it took a little bit to spool that thing back up.
Yeah.
Huge mistake.
Hmm.
Huge mistake. So now I know, get more help to help me and never stop the marketing.
Hmm.
Keep doing the marketing. Have that prospecting time, which Steve, you're in mine in your world, it's
Yeah.
2 hours every morning. So
Every day.
from 9 to 11 or 9:30 to 11:30 for those of you that do the call stars thing, man, do that. If you're busy, not busy, busting out the seams, no matter what, do not ever stop the marketing. Do not
Mhm.
ever stop the marketing. And I think the two more things, just real quick. Um, One thing, so the guy that owns the mortgage business that I work for. So I don't have any ownership in the company I work for. I'm a non-producing branch manager, so with zero ownership. Um, One thing I've learned from this guy, his name is Owen, super smart guy, and the one thing I've learned from him is he is a master at expanding the team when we need it, and contracting the team when we need it very, very rapidly. And I
Mhm.
think you said it early on. We've seen a couple big companies go out of business,
Mhm.
and it's not because they weren't closing loans; they simply didn't downsize fast enough. And so you look at in February, one thing that FedEx does in a massive way is contract the team down. Come to find out, they don't need as many delivery people in February as they needed in December during the Christmas rush.
Right.
And so they expand it in preparation. And then right after Christmas, they contract it down very rapidly.
Yeah.
And it's not being mean because the best drivers whoever delivered the
Yeah.
most packages gets to stay on board. On our
That's right.
team, whoever did the best processing, the best loan partnering, the best underwriting, they get to hang around. Whoever came in third and fourth and fifth place, I gave them the opportunity. They didn't it's not they didn't seize that opportunity, right? So whoever survival of the fittest, whoever can throw the ball furthest, that's going to be my quarterback.
Yeah.
Whoever can kick it furthest, that's going to be my kicker. So expanding the team and contracting the team very rapidly was a great thing that I learned. And lastly, always, always, always ask for the business.
Mm.
Always ask for the
So good.
business.
So
Always
good.
ask for the business. Every single conversation, always ask for the business. So keep marketing,
Yep.
expand and contract rapidly. Always ask for the business. Don't be like the government and always be profitable. And I'm not bashing our government. I love you know what I'm saying. But it's a big lesson there. And then lastly, and this is in no particular order, um, double down on my investments, cut
Mhm.
my expenses.
I love it. Wow. Well, I tell you what, for everyone who's listening, this is sage advice from someone who's running one of the largest branches in the country and seeing some of the greatest successes. So, Carl, what a great insight over the last 12 months.
Anything you would change? Any?
No, some of the ones I was even thinking about, for me, the power of saying no. Mine are pretty simple.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Go.
So here's the thing: if we're not careful, everybody's got a plan for your life. everybody wants you to do something to advance what they're doing. And Carl, it's hard to say no, but the part of what I've learned this last year is like there's this training and there's this conversation and there's this lead meeting and this 14 people have a question. And it goes back, you and I were talking about Elon Musk and some of the things he does. He's like, if this meeting's not effective, he encourages people to walk out. And I just thought we're not protective enough of our time. And we get like somebody will ask you, hey, will you do this training? Will you come in and teach my non-producing realtors to help them get more business? Will you attend the association meeting and luncheon? And if we're not careful, because we want to make a big impact and we care about people, we find ourselves doing a lot of yeses. But in saying no, we'll actually go further faster, advancing closer to our freedom and our goals, and I think strategically make a bigger impact. So number one is the power of saying no. You just got to say no more often. I think the other thing, and you taught me this one, was how powerful saving 25% of your income is.
Mm.
Man, I've taught that to my kids, my nephews, and my niece. Like one of my nephews plays football. He's a quarterback, and he's been saving 25%. Carl, he's paying off his car next month. And so
Mm.
we've been a part of his journey, but I've talked to Brandon and Brock and Brianna and Ethan and Ellie and Lucas and all like that. And even it was funny. I was sharing it with my mom, who's in her late 60s, and she's in a season of saving over 25%. I think that's powerful. What did last 12 months teach me? That when you save, man, that stuff grows fast, and you've got to cut to be able to save. So we get too tempted to spend more money that we have. You cut everything till you get to a point where you can save, you pay off consumer debt, and then after that, you split it. You've got a whole class we've
Yeah,
talked about.
I
I
like
think
that
the
one.
other thing is this. We talked about this earlier today. Clarity comes in action. It's easy to stop to build a perfect plan, and what I've learned this last 12 months, and you've been a big help with this, are we making offers even when it's not perfect? Are we selling? Are we moving? Are we advancing? You've got to run and then sharpen what you're doing. It goes back to shifting a car at a standstill doesn't help that car move fast. But when a car's driving, when you shift gears, you now go further faster with less headaches and easier. So that I think that's a big one. Hey, I think here's one for our branch managers. You and I are branch managers. And this was one I learned. Bodies don't pay bills. You got to
Mm.
hire motivated loan officers who are already doing the work. Trying to get a loan officer from 0 to 4 is almost impossible, but helping somebody go from 4 to 8 is just an accelerant. It's typically a who, it's typically a process, it's typically you're already doing the activity. Let's sharpen what you're doing to get even more results. I think another one is this: you can't give motivation. I can't want it more for you than you as a loan officer or team member want it for yourself. I mean, I think of a couple of team members I've had to let go this year, and I kept them a couple of months too long. And I know you always tell me if I ever question, are they the right person on the team? I promise you they're not the right person. Well, I learned that this last 12 months. I wanted it more from team members for team members than they wanted it for themselves. And I found out, Carl, it was actually hurting me by keeping them because they had less morale. They were not engaged. It actually hurt me more than it helped me. And so that was a big one. Um, so I think that's probably some of the good ones. Bodies don't pay bills, can't give motivation, clarity comes in action, learn to say no, the power of saving 25%. And the other one is this: you got to always make an offer. And that's just, you're so gifted at sales. I'm really, what I'm known for is strategy, structure, and scripts. And what you're known for is loving, finding the right people, and your ability to sell. And I'm like, bro, like I just got to be selling all the time, all the time, all the time, whether it's recruiting, whether it's personal production, or whether it's helping our loan officers get even further faster. It's or talking to agents. It's just what's the purpose of my call and what's going to be my ask for the business. So that's it, man.
Man, a lot of good stuff there. And I think a couple things just real quick. Number one, you're right. We do have different gifts. That's why I like peanut butter and chocolate. We're like a Reese's peanut butter cup,
Yes,
man.
we
It's
are.
just we're better together for sure. And and um and then the other thing, when we hang on to people, man, you have some good stuff there. when we hang on to people, we're not just hurting us, we're
Yeah.
hurting them.
Yeah.
Because if they're not excelling,
Yeah.
it's because they're not operating in their unique ability,
That's it.
right? And
That's
it's
it.
just like I'll never forget, and I know you've heard this story 100 times. That I used to wash eggs for a living, and I was fired from that job for pulling a joke on somebody. You put 19-year-old Carl with you know
A whole bunch of eggs. Nothing
literally a
going on.
million eggs, and there's going to be some debauchery, and there was, and I got fired. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that fact, but I did. Dude, thank God I got fired from that job, or I
Yeah.
wouldn't have the honor of meeting you. I'd never. It led into a sequence of events that ended up in the mortgage business. So thank God I got fired from that job. And frankly, I did it because I thought that's all I could do. Like I didn't know that the good Lord had another plan for me. And so when we let go of people, it doesn't. It's not just better for the company or better for you as a person that hired them. It's better for them because
Yeah.
they're amazing at something. They just haven't figured out what it is yet. But
That's right.
it's not this, or at least it's not this here, right? Whatever that is. So good stuff, man.
That's great, man. Hey, well, and for everybody who's listening, we really want to challenge you. Take time to really ask yourselves these questions. What did I learn the past 12 months? And what are some of the things I'm going to do differently? Because if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same result. It's really in reflection and then understanding, okay, hey, this is what happened, and here's what I'm going to do differently to get even more results. And hey, we'd love to help you with it. Go to freedomplanningcall.com. As you're evaluating your next 12 months or your next 90 days. We've got a clear strategic one-page business plan. Our team, myself, Carl, Kristen, one of us will jump on a call and we can help you with it and begin to look at, okay, hey, what happened the last 12 months? What are we going to do differently so that we get even more results? Go to freedomplanningcall.com. Freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to be on the journey with you to help you do even more and live a life of freedom. Freedomplanningcall.com, freedomplanningcall.com. And remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See ya.